The moment the groom froze at the altar, the entire wedding hall seemed to lose its breath, sunlight hanging mid-air like it had been paused by fate itself, and in that stillness a single word escaped him that no one was supposed to hear, a word that cracked the perfect ceremony wide open and changed everything that followed. If you believe that kindness, second chances, and unexpected truths can transform lives, take a moment right now to like this video, comment your thoughts, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to the channel Kindness Spark, because stories like this are meant to be felt together. Arman Hale had not planned to be noticed that day. He stood near the back of the outdoor wedding venue, sunlight filtering through white fabric draped across wooden arches, holding the small hand of his 6-year-old son, Theo, whose navy blue suit felt too stiff for his restless energy. Arman wore a modest grey blazer that had seen better days, pressed carefully the night before in a small apartment that smelled faintly of laundry soap and old books. He was a single father by necessity, not choice, and weddings had always been a reminder of what he had lost and what he had learned to endure. His sister Mireia was finally getting married, and Arman wanted to be nothing more than a quiet presence, the dependable older brother who showed up, smiled politely, and left early before memories became too heavy. The woman beside him, however, made quiet presence impossible. Her name was Ilara Vaughan, though no one there knew it yet, and she wore a simple pastel dress that caught the daylight softly without demanding attention. There was nothing flashy about her, nothing that screamed importance, yet she carried herself with a calm assurance that felt like gravity. She knelt occasionally to adjust Theo's tie or smooth his hair, her gestures gentle and practiced as if she understood children who had learned to grow up a little too fast. Arman had hesitated. Before bringing her, worried about questions, assumptions, and the silent judgments that came with small family gatherings, but Ilara had insisted, saying that important days deserved honest company. Arman's life had been stitched together by early mornings and late nights, ever since Theo's mother passed away 3 years earlier after a sudden illness that left no room for goodbyes. Grief had reshaped him into someone quieter, more careful, a man who measured joy the way one measures water in a drought, sparingly and with caution. He worked as a maintenance supervisor at a mid-sized commercial building, fixing elevators, replacing lights, and keeping everything running smoothly while his own world felt perpetually on the edge of collapse. Ilara had entered his life not through romance, but through exhaustion, when his building management company hired a new operations consultant to audit inefficiencies. She had been observant, fair, and unexpectedly kind, noticing not only broken systems but tired people. What began as professional respect slowly softened into something steadier. Ilara never pitied Arman, never treated him like a project, and never flinched when Theo clung to her hand during site visits. Over time, lunches became shared coffee breaks, and conversations drifted from work schedules to childhood dreams and quiet regrets. Arman did not think of her as extraordinary in the way movies portray romance, but as extraordinary in the way safety feels when you finally rest your shoulders. Still, he did not know how to explain her place in his life to family, so he simply introduced her as a friend. As guests took their seats and the music swelled gently in the bright afternoon air, Arman felt a familiar tightening in his chest. Weddings carried an odd mix of hope and loss for him, and he kept his eyes focused on Theo, who stared in awe at the floral arrangements and fluttering ribbons. Mireia had always been the dreamer between them, the one who believed love could survive anything, and seeing her radiant in white stirred both pride and an ache Arman rarely allowed himself to feel. Ilara noticed the shift in him, the subtle way his shoulders tensed, and she rested a reassuring hand on his arm, grounding him without words. The ceremony moved forward under clear skies, laughter and tears blending into something tender and communal. Then came the moment when the groom, Jonas Calder stepped forward, his posture confident, his smile practiced from years of presenting himself as capable and composed. Jonas was well-liked, ambitious, and known in the family as a rising star in the corporate world. He had spoken often about his demanding job and the pressure of leadership, though few had ever seen the people behind those titles. As he lifted his gaze to look across the gathered crowd, his eyes landed on Ilara. The shift was immediate and unmistakable. Jonas's confident expression faltered, his smile tightening into something raw and unguarded. The words that slipped from him were not meant for the ceremony, not meant for public ears, but they carried across the quiet space like a dropped glass. He called her boss, not playfully, not formally, but with the reflex of someone who had spent years under her direction, someone whose professional life had been shaped by her decisions. The murmurs rippled through the guests, confusion blooming in their faces as the officiant paused, unsure whether to continue. Ilara did not react with embarrassment or authority. She simply met Jonas's gaze with a calm nod, acknowledging the moment without claiming it. Arman felt the world tilt beneath his feet, realization crashing into him like a delayed wave. He had known Ilara was respected, influential even, but he had not known the scope of it, the quiet power she carried without display.